Hello, welcome to the Archive Scanner. My name is Jens and I want to show you the basic features, the main advantages of our system, the Archive Scanner. First thing, if you have a look at the unit, you can see that we use two screens. We have a copy stand here and a regular SLR camera. This one is from Canon, but it could be Nikon as well. You could add like cameras from I2S, for example, the 70 megapixel Eagle camera if you want to have more quality. The idea behind, the concept behind the Archive Scanner is that you as an archivist, working in an archive, whether it's a regional archive, a city archive, it's a research archive, it's an archive within a museum or an institution or a company, you want to scan. You want to scan your materials for preservation needs, but also for present them online or on demand. So if customers of yours ask for scans, ask copies of your documents, you want to scan it, and you want to do it gentle. You don't want to push it on a flatbed scanner. You don't want to push it on a copying machine. So 1-2 years ago, I think you know that very well, you searched for book scanners. You went to book scanning vendors and you had a look on the different machines they had on A2 format, A1 format, etc., etc. And like the name is very clear. A book scanner is made for scanning books, but usually in most of the archives you will have books to scan, that's right, small books, big books, thick books, but in most of the archives it's just 10 to 30% overall material. So most of the time you're scanning like loose paper sheets, letters, maps, painting, drawings. Could be 3D object like sieges, coins, medals, or even real 3D objects you want to capture. In natural museums it might be herbariums or like small preparations from spiders or whatever it is. So the variation of material in an archive is endless, and it's way more complicated to have a scanning unit which fits to all these materials than in a library, because in a library when you scan books you adjust your scanner once for one book and then turn 300 times, you just turn pages. In an archive it's not going to work like this. Even if you have bounded documents in an archive, usually it's not that smooth to scan it with a book cradle and a glass plate, because the binding is very tight. When you open it up you have a big curve. So open it 180 degrees makes not so much sense, so you need to adjust it a little bit. So all these reasons, for us it was important to find to have a solution which fits to all these needs, and on the other hand needs to be very cheap, because even especially the smaller archives or the smaller institutions, if you want to scan with higher quality, you have to spend easily above 30,000 euros or 30,000 US dollars to get a scanner which fits to your needs, and on the other hand it offers good quality. But 30,000 euros is a lot of money, so it needs to be cheaper. So what we done here, we did take hardware like a copy stand and SLR camera. Usual SLR camera you can get in every photo shop, in every photo store. Of course we have a close look on that the plate fits to the column fits to the lighting, and the lighting fits to the camera. So every part needs to be aligned to each other. There are different kind of variations of the archive scanners, so there are bigger formats, smaller formats, higher ones. So it depends on what material you want to scan. Usually the usual solution is way bigger than this one that we deliver, so that it can easily fit a big newspaper, or it's almost A1, so it's really big. So yes, that's standard equipment we use here, and we combine it with a scanning application named Multidotscan, which automatically crops, desk queues, saves, converts the image, blah blah blah. So many things that needs to be done after capturing a photo, because the photo camera itself, it doesn't know anything about a letter, a TIFF image, it doesn't know anything about a color profile, the naming of images, and so on and so on. So everything you need when capturing cultural heritage, Canon or Nikon, they doesn't know about, they don't care about. So we need an application that is that does that automatically and is so easy to use that you can do it, that interns can do it, patrons can do it, so that everybody in your archive can really work on this unit with just 1-2 minutes of introduction. We want to have a closer look on this. Before we go into the application, let me give you just a few ideas why we use the standard hardware equipment here. The reason is, you know, if you buy a Canon SLR camera, you buy a camera which is produced, I don't know, 100,000 times, 1 million times a year, I don't know, but it's standard equipment, so the prices are very low. On the other hand, the innovation of companies like Canon or Nikon in this field is very, very high, so you get better cameras, better lenses every year, so it gives you a few nice opportunities. The first one is you can go in very, very cheap. So the prices differ in terms of what kind of variation you want, but it can be between 10 and 20,000 euros or dollars, so which is very, very cheap. And the next thing is you can buy a unit right now with a new camera, and in a few years you can decide just to exchange the camera. You just buy a new Canon camera, for example, for $2,000, and you change the current one. In 2, 3, 4, 5 years, the cameras have so many innovations in that, and bigger sensors, better lenses, whatever. So you can benefit from the state-of-the-art technique at that time. So this saves money a lot, because on the other side, if you have a unit which all parts are hardly connected to each other, then you have to replace the whole scanner. Means you have to, after 7, 8, 9, 10 years, whatever, you have to buy a complete new solution. You have to spend the whole investment again. In this case, with this application, that's not the case, because you just exchange the part that needs to be upgraded, which is usually the camera. The next thing is that because it's so easy, you just have to, there's one screw and you can take out the camera, you can do it on your own. So you don't need a technician, you don't need a certified technician coming to your town, coming to your institution and do that. So this saves a lot of money in long terms for service service contracts, and of course for the hardware upgrade. So why do we need two screens? You will see it later when we go into the application. You can see that one is a touch screen where I set my settings, I adjust what I want to have, and the right one is a live preview where I can see what the camera see, and I can see my cropping frames and so on. You will see it right now. So what we want to do is we want to show you the different kind of materials. So it's just a selection of different materials. We want to scan it, we want to show you some features. We don't want to go too deep into it, so keep some space for you to contact us to have a demo or a site demo, visit us at a show or something, but just to give you a first impression. So now we want to have a closer look at the application itself, how it works and how simple and easy it is. So the first thing we want to have a look on is that the right side is a touchscreen, I told you that, and this one is a live preview. The live preview, you can see when I move my hands, you can see that it is in the live preview, and it shows you the captured video of the camera. So now I have a letter here, like this, typical archiving material. So when I have it on my plate, you can see that it actually detects it automatically and sets a frame around it. When I move my document, the frame moves. So it's not important anymore where I place my document. It's only important that the camera can see it. The size of the frame is adjustable here. So you can see now the frame is getting bigger and it's getting smaller again. So you can have like 30, 40 pixels of black frame, or you can do like this and have an image You can see it here now that have absolutely no frame. So it depends on what your requirements are, what you want to do, how you want your images to look like. So you can use this, of course. I set the frame high again. The second thing which is important in the live preview is it's not so easy to place single sheets of paper perfectly every time. So sometimes it's like this, it's a little bit descued, so the software automatically detects it and descues it all before the scan. So you can see in the live preview now I have a perfect frame, it's descued, it looks good. So when I press my button, the camera takes the picture is automatically processed, so it's automatically converted to TIFF, there's a color profile attached to the image, the naming of the image is done, and the result is my perfect scan of this letter. So now I want to open up, press the foot switch, you can use a keyboard, you can use a touchscreen, it doesn't matter what you prefer. That's it, scan is done. Maybe you saw a small status here which shows you that the autofocus was made. The autofocus of the camera currently is always on. That means it doesn't matter if your document is very flat like this or is a little bit higher. The camera automatically focuses at the level of the document and produces a sharp image, which is very important because it makes it very easy. You can scan from bounded documents, you can scan flat documents, and it's always a sharp image. You don't have to adjust the focus by yourself. Okay. So now I will scan different types of documents. Okay, here's the next one. You see, I'm always looking at the live preview, and when the live preview is good, my results is good. So exactly what I see here is exactly what I get in the end. So this, especially with changing documents, it prevents you from making any errors. The thing is, all the processing of the image is done before the scan. Usually when you have a scanner that processes like automatic document detection, automatic descuing, so most of the time the scanner first captures the image and then does the post-processing. What it means, you have always to check the results of the scan and see if everything is perfect. You can do it like that, yes, but this way is way more easy because you can see it before you scan. If you do like this, the software is not able to descue it right now, and you can see it in the live preview. So you can see that my frame is not perfectly aligned to the document. Or if you have a bigger document, like this drawing here, and you move it a little bit too far down, then you can see that it's not perfectly captured by the camera, so your scan will not be good. So you can move it up, now it works, now you can press the scan button and you get the complete image. So always keep in mind, have the live preview before you scan, and you can trust 100% what you see in the live preview, and then you get the perfect result out of it. Okay. So for books or bounded documents, it's similar. You have your document placed on the plate, it automatically detects the document, and you can press the scan button and it does a scan. This time of a complete 2 pages as one image, as you can see here. It looks like this. So now you want to have, like scanning a book, a left and a right page, and you can see that instantly in the live preview you can see a red and a green frame, and my result will be one image for the right, one image for the left. You can see it like this. I change my mode so I can see 2 pages next to each other. This gives you the opportunity, for example, if you have really big books, you can scan them like this, turn them around, and then you scan all the left pages, and then there's a mode in the software that produces all the right pages and put it in the right order. So you can see instantly that, for example here, Page number 49 belongs to page number 94 to 95. Okay, scanning books. So there's one more interesting thing I want to show you for this type of document, for example. So now I do a first scan of this document, and now you can see an interesting thing. So I pressed the scan button when my hand was still in the live preview, so it irritated the automatic, and you can see that my results is not good. But it's not so important, because I can see that now he has the perfect capture, and I press the rescan button. Rescan means the last image will be deleted and will be replaced by my new scan. So this is what I want to have. Okay. What I'm showing you now is something that sometimes it's important to not use the perfect color profiling settings, because if you have, for example, the third copy of any document with a very thin paper, or like this, you have a letter with ink, and you see that the paper is getting darker and the ink is getting brighter, so it's difficult to read it. So what we can do here is I can set the brightness maybe a little bit up. I can adjust the contrast as well. So there are many things I can do here to change my document. So I want to do this just to show you the difference, or maybe do it a little bit brighter. Okay, so this is a scan with the original color profile, and now with the new settings I'm doing a new scan, and you can see instantly the difference. So now it's way brighter, the contrast is stronger. So you can adjust it like this. Now it's saving this settings for the next scans. And if you don't want this anymore, you want it back to the normal, you can just press this trash can button, and then it sets all the sliders back to 0, so you have the perfect color profiled images in the end. Okay, so now we had a look on scanning of bounded documents, big ones, small ones. We scan different kind of papers. You saw how easy and fast it is. And now I want to show you one of many special features to make it very short. So I want to scan the stems on this letter. So because I want the maximum quality out of it, what I will do is I lower my camera. So when I lower my camera, I have the megapixels in the camera, the sensor is very near to my document, so the pixels are on a small area, which leads to a very high DPI. For this camera, the Canon 5DS with a macro lens, and you're scanning a slide, you can get up to 6,000 optical DPI on this document. So now I have to say focus the image to make it sharp. I will shut off the auto format detection, and I will shut off the deskewing. So now it's not deskewing at all, and it's now no automatic format detection. You see when I move my document, nothing happens because I turned both off. So I take my mouse and I can adjust the size of the frames by mouse, and I can move them by mouse. So I can do this. Now I'm making a scan again with my camera very, very close to my document. And now you can see that I can zoom in to the details of this stamp. So this is very interesting if you want to scan very small documents, you want to scan sieges, coins, medals, like in botanic collections or natural museums where we scan preparation of small animals, or stones, or something like that. So there are many use cases for that. We really want the maximum DPI, the maximum quality and resolution out of these small objects. And there are a few things more you can do. For example, you can turn off one lighting and just use lighting coming from one side. So this leads to shadows on the object, which gives you impression of a 3D, of a really texture, of a relief inside the object, which is very, very important when you scan, for example, coins or metals or sieges. Yeah. So this is one way to scan. So what you saw now is we scanned a few images, we have them in my tree view, and now I'm pausing this job and I'm going back to my start screen. In my start screen I can see different workflows, 3 now. Each and every workflow contains a set of adjustments, configurations. So now I scanned like LED light coming from above, the camera is way above, I'm scanning documents, paper documents. Now I want to show you how to scan with a backlight table. So I'm using my workflow for backlight table. This workflow, in this workflow there's a specific preset, specific settings for the camera. And when I start a job in this workflow, the software will tell the camera automatically what settings it should use, what kind of color profile, what kind of data format maybe. So the different things that are presetted here in this workflow. So the first thing I want to do is get my backlight table. And I will turn off my lighting. So the second thing I want to do is I change my lens. So why do I change my lens? It's not a must-have, you don't have to do that, but if you want to scan with a maximum quality, the maximum resolution, the macro lens works like this, until you have a very, very small area that you can see with your camera, which leads to a very high resolution because your pixels are now only on a way smaller area. So you see that. So I place my slide on my backlight table, and I have my frame here. I move my frame around my document, and now I make the scan of this image. And here you can see the results of this slide. So now there's a little more space where I can go nearer to have more resolution and zoom in further. For that I have to move my screen away. So for this use case I have my screen at the column, but if you scan slides or you want to scan glass plate a lot, or sieges or coins and metals with a macro lens, then you can move the screen aside so that you really can use the complete height of the column to go very, very far down. Okay, with my first slide. Again, I'm using my live preview to position the document, to do a scan, and that's it. I can check the results if I want to. Especially for the slides, this functionality of changing the color settings, of changing the brightness and the contrast is interesting. If you have a slide which is way too bright, way too dark or something, you can use this to make it more, more good looking. So for a glass plate I have to move the camera up a little bit because the area the camera sees was too small. So now it fits better. I'm adjusting the frame, making a scan. And in this case I have to invert it. What you didn't recognize now is that I scanned in color mode. I scanned in color mode because my slides were in color, but now I can switch to grayscale. Now I automatically get a grayscale image, which is perfect for this one because it's a grayscale glass plate. So you can see now the difference, captured in color mode, captured in grayscale. And here you can see the details of the glass plate. With this image here you can do some things like you can rotate it if you want to, if it's not correct. You can crop it afterwards if you want to. You can even, if you have like a photo book, you can mark a specific part and save it separately. So now I have my TIFF image of the complete picture, and I have two smaller clips as a TIFF image. So now when my scanning is done, everything is perfect, I want to save it now, then this window opens up, and now I can set like the naming of the files, the digits I want to use, the directory where I want to save it. I can choose JPEG, JPEG 2000, TIFF, PDF, PDFA, and I can set 2 exports at one time. That means, for example, which is a very common use case, you have a TIFF export, a TIFF master file uncompressed for your archiving system, and you have like a PDF multi-page, for example, to use on the website or to send it to customers. So this is done automatically by the application, and that's it. That's the complete story of scanning with the archive scanner. So what you saw is that it's a very flexible system. You can scan loose papers, bounded documents. You can have a very high resolution on smaller objects. You can scan with a backlight table. Everything you can do with a backlight table. You can use the lighting, adjust the lighting to have reliefs or 3D structures, and it's easy. You know, just a few clicks, have a look at the live preview, and that's it. So it's good for everybody to use. You don't need to be a photographer. You don't touch the camera. Nothing. It's pretty easy. Thank you very much. If you have any more questions, let me know.